Hey guys, this is IX with RolloutReviews doing another Let's Build. This time it is Lewa, Uniter of Jungle, the third 2016 Toa set we're building here, and the first of the $15 sets. Both Tahu and Onua were $20. And this guy is one of the silver sets here. He's got a gold mask and whatnot, but mostly silver here. He's got weird propeller swords this time around instead of axes that turn into swords. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I will form an opinion by the time I'm done building this guy, of course. And there's just a lot of silver going on with him, but I don't know. Let's stop speculating and crack this open as soon as possible. There is the comic book, which is the same formula as all of the others here. Umarak and the combination, and wrecking him for the mask of control there. That is the actual size of the mask. That is quite a chin you've got there, Lewa. Anyway, there is the Nuva symbol there at the top, and the creature symbol, like always. So, without further ado, here we go. I forgot that the $15 sets also have one of these things, like the smaller sets do as well. But yeah, only two $15 sets. Or wait, no, three rather than. What am I thinking? There's always been three. I'm thinking that there's only No, yeah, there was 4 last year with the Lord of Skull Spiders. I don't know. I'm kind of out of it at this point. But, yeah, there were 4, including Lord of Skull Spiders, so only 3 $15 sets this year, because the villain, Umarak, is a $20 set. So, yeah, that's interesting. I knew there was something off. I just had to get there and realize what it was, making a couple mistakes along the way. So forgive me for that. But anyway, I actually sort of suspected that his green color here might have been darker, just judging by the pictures, but no, it is the same kind of bright green that the 2015 Lewa is, so that's fine. I just wasn't sure. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's nice that it's consistent, so there's that. Gear, get out of there. And let's put these off over there. Let me fold up my knife, and then I will bring the camera down. So yeah, already, just judging by the pile of pieces, he is a much smaller set than the $20, so I think we're on to something, because that makes sense. Here's his mask, and I actually think his mask is really, really cool. I think I might like this mask better than his 2015 version. Let me do a comparison to that. If I can get it off Lewa's face. That's irony for you, folks. Lewa's mask only comes off if you don't want it to. Here we go. Here is Lewa's new mask and his old mask. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit slimmer, but I really, really like it. Has the Nuva symbol there and the runes up top. This mask is actually symmetrical as opposed to Tahu and Onua's. Well, at least mostly symmetrical. The runes are slightly off there, but yeah. It's got a really cool design. Actually, I feel like this mask is maybe a little bit more similar to the original Miru than the new mask. This is the new mask. Than the 2015 mask. Just because the grin is maybe a little bit more prevalent there. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Also, the eye holes are a little bit more angular, which is more similar to that. But I don't know. I really like this mask. And then there's this, which is very similar in color to the mask from Skull Slicer. So yeah, very similar to the mask that came with Onua. It reminds me of the Skull Villain sets with these translucent masks here, the translucent dual injected masks at least. Anything else new? You have these pieces with silver and green there, which looks pretty nice. You have the chest piece, and the Nuva symbol on Lewa's chest piece is way bigger than any of the others, I think. So yeah, he's wearing that very proudly. But yeah, there's a silver variant of that piece there. Wow, that's something I've never seen before. I've never seen a yellow axle in this length. That might be new, but I'm not entirely sure. And then you have some 3-long versions as well. I feel like I might have seen those before. You have one of these in this color. That's nice. I have a couple of those, actually. So, yeah, what color were Onua's eyes? Were his eyes blue? Because that would mean all of the new Toa's eyes are blue. Or maybe just these 3? I don't know. Maybe the first 3 I decided to build are the ones with blue eyes. I think Onua might have had blue eyes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So that's interesting. I don't know actually if the other 3 have a different color eye or if they're all blue. But we should probably get to building this. I have to say that to myself at least once during these Let's Builds. Like, I have to kind of tell myself, hey, let's get going. And then I rarely listen. But here we go. That is the same as all the others, pretty much. And so is the actual gear section itself. So, pretty predictable so far. Is that going to be straight? Are the gears lined up there? Yeah, that's close enough. I'll fix it off screen. I don't want to, if it isn't quite as I want it to be. Yeah, it's kind of off there, but whatever. It's fine. Doesn't need to be perfect right now. It'll be perfect later. A little bit of a perfectionist that way, if you haven't noticed. Okay, here we go. We're already using one of these pieces. Again, all of this very, very similar to the other Toa. And then we're gonna do something very similar to Tahu here. Yeah, these yellow axles kind of stick out. There is a little bit of yellow on the torso here, so it's not like completely out of place, although this guy is pretty much missing, well, he is missing entirely the Keetorange color that was on his past incarnation, which is a little unfortunate. I did like that color scheme along with this this green myself. Oh, here is the Unity piece in silver, which is cool. So that goes on the same way as all of the others. I do like how the Unity piece kind of creates sort of a collar for all the Toa, something I didn't mention in the builds for the last 2, but I do kind of like that. It also makes the neck appear a little bit thicker from the front, so that, you know, they don't just have this stick of a neck. Only from some angles, though, is that effective. Okay, now we need the biggin here, and this goes on like so, and like so, and that whole thing slides through here. Yeah, the one concern I have about this guy, aside from maybe the colors, is the way his arms attach. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that point. Attaching the arms, I mean. But, yeah, it does look a little bit awkward from what I've seen. Okay, setting this off to the side at this point and moving on to the feet. One thing I also didn't mention in the last 2 builds is I've kind of put up with this foot design for a while, and I don't think it's a bad design, but it's just like, we really should be getting new feet. we really, really should have a new CCBS foot by now. And like we have, you know, the feet that are on Onua. Those aren't new, but you know that they are a little bit different. There's, you know, the couple animal-like feet, but for the majority of CCBS characters, we still have this same exact foot mold we've had since Hero Factory 2.0. And it is a little bit annoying at this point. Like, the first wave of the rebooted Bionicle here, I was, you know, completely fine with it because, you know, it was still pretty much entirely the CCBS system. They were, you know, settling in. And now they're adding a little bit more Technic and starting to make the new Bionicle its own thing a little bit, but they still have these same feet, and that is a little bit annoying to me. If they don't have a new foot mold by next year, if and when they come out with a new wave of Toa, I don't know if they will, because right now we're pretty much at the equivalent of like early or late 2002, sort of. That's where we're at if you count the months, and you count, you know, summer to winter. That's kind of where we're at, equivalent to the original series. Am I making any sense with this at all? But anyway, yeah. So like these upgrades for the Toa are coming out actually about the same time from the start of the series that the Toa Nuva came out in. So for anybody who thinks that we're kind of getting upgrades for the Toa a little bit early, it really isn't any more early than the Toa Nuva came. But anyway, back to what I was saying, like, if we do get another upgrade of the Toa, and not just like an entirely new Toa team or something, because we didn't actually get a new Toa team in 2003, so you know, this could follow a similar pattern to that. What am I doing here? I should be doing something here. Yeah, here we go. If this follows a similar pattern to that, then we might not get a third set of Toa. But if we do, and they don't have new feet, then I'll actually be very annoyed. But right now I'm kind of like just slightly annoyed, but yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. Finally, I got to my point in that conversation with myself. I apologize for the rambliness there, but oh well. Okay, so here we go. Here we have some Lewa legs, and they're kind of mostly Technic here. They look a little strange from the back, and they got this sticking off the front, but not actually too terrible, I don't think. His legs are kind of short. Are they any shorter than his original legs? Maybe a little. I don't know. They just seem oddly short. Is Lewa actually not any taller than... No, he does seem a little bit taller, actually, from the neck. You couldn't have seen that. This is actually probably the point that I should bring the camera up. I should take that as a hint. Is that high up enough? Probably not. Let me move that up, and then I'll move the backdrop up. Sorry for this. Okay. There we go. Now, the head here is the next step. So let's do that. Goes on like that, and then the chest piece. Like that. And I do like how the chests don't have as much space in there. Like, it does fill out the space between the chest and the skeletal piece there much better. And most, if not all, of the Toa, I think, don't have those exposed ball joints. Some of the creatures still do, which is unfortunate. But, oh yeah, I actually forgot to put an extender in one of his legs here. There we go. that looks a bit better. He's now not lopsided there. Okay, just making sure everything's in order. And now we build the arms. And see, this is where the arms attach. Very, very high up. That is what I'm worried about. But yeah, his upper arms, very similar to his lower legs, are actually like custom built. So that goes like that, and then this piece of armor here attaches like so, and that goes on there. This goes on here. And that's kind of his arm. We're going to attach some armor here, but that's kind of it. Also, I kind of haven't made note of this at all. Vorok's armor is a new thing they're bringing back in this wave. Kind of how they brought the Gurok staff back for a couple of the sets last year. And, you know, they did bring a couple of other pieces as well, maybe one or two, but the Gurok staff is definitely the one I remember that they kind of made a big deal about in the designer videos, at least. But yeah, they're still bringing back some Bionicle pieces of old here with that Vorok's armor, and it does look pretty nice actually with the new aesthetic. It actually kind of looks similar to the piece we got last year aesthetically, which is nice. So there is that. Anyway, arm here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. See, his arms are kind of short looking, and they're attached very high up. So, like, yeah, he's got neck articulation now, which is nice, and I appreciate that. But you kind of drop the ball on his shoulders a little bit. Actually, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. They kind of hug very closely to his body, which gives him an interesting look. It's just the fact that his arms were so long last year. Like, that was one of the defining features of Lewa. He had very kind of simian arms, which made sense, you know, being the jungle guy. And now his arms are kind of stumpy. It seems just like a weird thing. It's a weird thing. I do really like the fact that he has this new armor piece on his elbow, though. It kind of reminds me of like Gypsy Danger or something from Pacific Rim, with like the rocket-powered elbow punch or something like that. Even though it's crystal, obviously, I don't know, you could consider it elemental energy, and he like uses it to punch. I don't know, that's what I see it as. And he actually doesn't look too bad once those are on his shoulders, but it is kind of undeniable that his hands do kind of only come down to there, whereas they should maybe be a little bit longer. But I've never been one to complain about proportions, like weird proportions in Bionicle, because I've said it at least a couple times before. Like, they're not human; they shouldn't have to have human proportions. But this does look a little strange. So maybe I'm, you know, maybe I'm, what's the word? Double crossing what I said before. That's not the expression I was looking for, actually. But whatever. I'm going back on what I said, by, you know, not being annoyed by off proportions, and now I'm, you know, complaining about proportions. But anyway, he's got these things, which are like bladed tonfa katana things. Kind of weird weapons. I heard a theory back when the sets were first seen that maybe it worked with his gear function, and these were much looser, so that when you swung his waist left and right, they twirled somehow using like centripetal force, or however you say that. I don't know. I'm no science man. That does not seem to be the case, because they are blue half pins, or not half pins, blue pin axles there. So, you know, they don't twirl on their own or anything when you activate the function. So they are just kind of like underslung blades of some kind, katanas. I guess he can flip them around like this and use this side if he wants. I don't know, they're kind of weird, and like the fact that they're a little bit lame, and they also don't have dual weapon functionality. It does seem like a step down from his katana wing arm axe things from last year. But anyway, put on the mask, and there is Lewa. And then, of course, he has this mask as well, which does look a little bit out of place, given that it's the only gold on him at all. Although, you know, that was kind of the case last year with his golden mask, too. But anyway, I think he looks a whole lot better like this. There is a lot of silver, but it does look much more broken up in person than I think it had in pictures. Really, the biggest problem with the sets, just looking at them in pictures to me, was that in promotional pictures and in the brief looks I'd taken at a couple of written reviews, the sets just weren't posed very well by, the official product image taker or the people reviewing it. They just didn't pose the sets very well, and putting the sets in a decent pose helps them so much. And this guy actually looks fine. Fine like that, but also in person, his color scheme is better than I expected it to be. The green and the silver is spaced out better than I thought it was just by looking at pictures. Only one extra piece, it looks like here, unless there's one that got missing at some point. But yeah, it seems like there's just one extra piece, which is interesting because the others came with so many. And then, of course, you have the gear function that swings his waist back and forth, but also gives him waist articulation, and really, that's what I care about. Yeah, gear functions are fine, but give me that waist articulation. These weapons are weird, and it's gonna get some taking used to learning how to pose him with them, but right now, Lewa's kind of cool. He looks cool. He's a little finicky so far to play with, especially given his shoulders. I mean, he's solid. That's not the issue. It's just like some things are positioned very weirdly as far as his weapons and his shoulders go that I'm like, how do I even pose this guy? But I'm sure I'll find out before I make the review. So let's get the box into frame after I close it. I forgot to close it. There we go. Lewa, Uniter of Jungle. I really do like that mask design though, so that's nice. And he can actually move his neck, which is a saving grace. So that is about it, guys, and this is IX Roll It IX, signing off.